They were searching for a spiritual home, a place to find strength and comfort and guidance. And when they found it, this sanctuary of towering significance, they were surprised by its rather humble profile, its unpretentious air, and its welcoming nature, even to those total strangers.
I would say it was just by chance. One day we couldn't make it for scheduling reasons to another church that we were going, and we just went to Sacred Heart. And I remember that Father Ferrigan gave the sermon that day, and we just loved it. And then when the Mass was over, we left the church, and they said, "Welcome. Is this your first time?" And we really felt welcomed.
Well, we moved here 2.5 years ago and wanted to find a parish, and we loved Sacred Heart pretty much right away. It felt very comfortable, it felt very warm, and just felt genuine.
On the corner of Tower Road and Burr Avenue, the stone facade of Sacred Heart Church cannot contain the uplifting power of its generous spirit. Or the influential force of its tender heart.
And that's the kind of thing that moves me deeply, you know, the sensitivity, the care that you see in people. And I see a lot of it.
There's just something about a song.
The children see it as well.
Make everything better.
In the school, in the religious education program, children whose voices,
It's especially special when we sing together.
beliefs, attitudes, and opinions are shaped by the actions they witness. Sacred Heart parishioners opening up their hearts by volunteering to serve food at a community soup kitchen, by delivering not only communion, but compassion to the elderly, by graciously welcoming others into their spiritual home. The children observe these charitable acts and are inspired to start helping others in their own small way, as are the visitors, one man in particular, relating the story of how he decided to sample a typical Sunday Mass at Sacred Heart.
And you heard him announce from the altar that after Mass that they were going to have people who were interested come over and be tested to see if they could be bone marrow donors for a child who was desperately sick. So he just walked over to the gym to see what was going on, and he said there were like 400 people standing in line waiting to be tested.
Jesus, you are the healing.
And on it goes, organized parish trips by Sacred Heart people of all ages to build houses for the poor in Appalachia, or closer to home, to benefit the local Habitat for Humanity chapter. And then there is this mission, a Haitian parish in desperate need of a church, and its people in dire need of hope.
I made 4 trips to Haiti. And the first time I was in shock. I just never encountered that much, just sort of crushing poverty.
David James, however, has had his own share of difficulties with racial prejudice. As one of the renowned Tuskegee Airmen during World War II, he flew combat missions with America's first all-black air unit.
Those were different times, of course. There was segregation. And in fact, I grew up in a parish where I could not attend the school, Catholic school.
Until just before the turn of the 20th century, there was no Catholic school or Catholic church in Winnetka or Glencoe. But that changed, as former Sacred Heart pastor Father Thomas Raftery explains, with the sound of an approaching locomotive.
And Father Harth came up on the train, and the parish was started there in Hubbard Woods. And he was a pastor for 48 years.
Monsignor Hillenbrand followed and then proceeded to lead the Catholic Church of America by being the first to turn the altar around to face the congregation and by heralding the call for social action.
And the whole country looked to this church to see what was kind of coming next.
Oh yeah, he lit a fire in this place, and it's been on fire ever since, in my judgment.
But how could one small church in one small suburban Catholic community continue through the years to have such a major impact on the lives of so many people.
Jesus was small. I mean, he's one person and 12 apostles, 72 followers. What kind of a difference can you make? I mean, I believe in it.
So does the Persico family and the Barich family, and their emotional stories bear that out. Christina Persico's world was turned upside down when her husband Jose was diagnosed with cancer. Immediately thereafter, even though the Persicos were new to the parish, the food started arriving, and the babysitters, and the flowers, and the notes.
And all will know my name.
My parents-in-law were here, and they are Italian, and you know I'm from Argentina, and they just could not believe it. None of my friends could not believe it. It was just not the words, it was just the action of people that maybe didn't even know our family really well, but wanted to support us and help us out. And I will never forget that.
Jose Persico passed away and is buried in the Sacred Heart Cemetery in Northbrook. Just as there is no way for Chris Persico to describe the depths of her sorrow, there are no words to express her heartfelt gratitude to the Sacred Heart community that continues to offer her comfort.
You want to repay what they've done for you, and it is literally impossible. I will have to be doing stuff almost every day for everybody. I mean, the people that came to our help and support were just too many.
Diana Barich, sadly, understands all too well.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare cancer in July, and at the hospital they asked us if is there anyone you want us to call, and I wanted them to call the church, because you feel so helpless that I felt I just needed people to pray for her. And we couldn't believe the support we got from the parish.
Support organized by the Sacred Heart chapter of the Elizabeth Ministry, a national network of volunteers comprised of everyday people like parishioner Elizabeth Maloney, herself the mother of 4 young children and a tireless distributor of these gifts from the heart.
It's not just me going with a meal to the Bariches. I mean, I didn't cook one thing today. These are parishioners cook these meals. They're not getting any gratitude. They're not getting any thank you notes. This is completely anonymous. They're cooking these meals. They're providing some toys today for Rachel. And, you know, this is church at its best. This is Sacred Heart at its best.
When I go to church every Sunday, I thank God for being a part of the parish because of the support we have. But my mother also, she died 3 weeks after my daughter was diagnosed, and it sounds cliche, and they always talk about the church being your family, but I really feel that they are.
A family for life, from a baby's tears at a baptism to a granddaughter's tears at a funeral, and all the blessed events in between.
This parish has inspired me as a priest. I feel that my spiritual life has deepened because of my time with the people of Sacred Heart.
And I loved it. I loved every second of it. And the people were so warm and supportive of me during those years I was there. That's why it was so extremely difficult to pack and be retired as pastor of Sacred Heart.
St. Francis said, "Preach always, and when necessary, use words. Preach with your lives."
God is love, this grand statement, but that's what it means. God is love. That means in moments of love, however simple, God is found. That's what we're about here.
Even in life's darkest moments, soon after Chris Persico's husband died, her daughter Francesca's cancer reappeared.
I think that sometimes things happen for a reason, and I don't know what the reason is yet. Just like coming to Winnetka and going to Sacred Heart that day. There was a reason for that. I needed a warm church. I needed the support of the church. And I knew that was the place where I could find it. I could just sense it, but I didn't know it at the time.
For the members of our parish who are sick, especially Rachel Barrich, Francesca Persico.
Well, people were praying for my daughter that I don't even know. And they've had prayer services for her. And at one point, they had a prayer service, and Rachel hadn't eaten in 10 days. She hadn't walked in 10 days. And I'm not kidding, 20 minutes after the prayer service, she wanted to go to the playroom in the hospital and started to eat. I mean, it's just been incredible. I don't think people realize these little things they do, what a huge impact it has on someone. It's certainly touched our lives, you know, forever. I mean, we can't imagine ever moving from Sacred Heart. It's a part of our life now.
They came searching for a spiritual home, and within this church, they found a towering abundance of strength, comfort, and guidance. A great gift, sometimes packaged as a small act of kindness.
There is no such thing as a small act of kindness. An act of kindness is huge in itself.
And so is the legacy of Sacred Heart Parish, a name once known all over the country because of the singular contributions of its legendary pastor, and now known in different parts of the world because of the communal involvement of its compassionate parishioners, parishioners with heart.
That's what we're about. We're trying to be the Sacred Heart.